Calling somebody a dismissive avoidant is just an excuse or a more polite label for what they really are, a dismissive asshole. Okay? People use that term to allow others to hide behind bad behavior. And no offense if this is you here, people also use that term, calling somebody a dismissive avoidant, which is really a dismissive asshole. They use that term they call somebody that term to make themselves feel better about the fact that they allowed somebody to treat them like shit. The real question you should ask yourself is, why did you allow somebody to treat you so dismissively? Avoid intimacy and real conversation. Why are you allowing that? Okay, that's something for you to think about in the conversation, but I'm going to basically dispel all the bullshit behind a label that really is to hide somebody who is really in reality a dismissive asshole. Years ago, they had a very famous book called He's Just Not Into You. Now, for all purposes, if this is role reversal here, the book could also be called She's Just Not That Into You. Listen, I grew up in the 80s. Back then, we didn't sugarcoat stuff. We didn't, allow this kind of, not at least at the level we do today, this kind of nonsense bad behavior and just let people hide behind labels. We didn't do that. At least not at this level here. I mean, this is a fucking crazy world we live in here today. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the definition of what a dismissive avoidant does, and I'm going to help you see it for what it really is. Absolute and utter and complete bullshit, okay? So, dismissive avoidant is a term from attachment theory. Now, first and foremost, it's called attachment fucking theory, not attachment fact. There is something called the science of neuroplasticity, and that's the ability to strengthen your brain like a fucking muscle. And if you actually had that strength, maybe you wouldn't be allowing these dismissive assholes into your life. Something to think about. Anyway, it describes a pattern of behavior that stems from early experiences that involve emotional neglect or discouragement or of dependency. People with this attachment style tend to avoid emotional intimacy, downplay the importance of relationships, value independence above connection, and shut down or withdraw when others get too close. That just sounds like somebody who is just not that into you. I mean, if you're not that into somebody, you avoid intimacy. If you're just not that into somebody, you avoid real conversations. If you're just not that into that person, you avoid discussions of commitment. Doesn't sound so fucking complicated to me here. Why are you making excuses for them? Why not be honest to yourself? If this is you, why not be honest to yourself? You allowed bad behavior. You allowed somebody to treat you like fucking shit. The real focus you should be on is not about labeling people. It should be about making sure this doesn't happen to you again. Why did you allow somebody to treat you like fucking garbage? Why did you allow somebody to be dismissive with you? Why are you making excuses for them? Anyway, let's continue onwards here, shall we? By the way, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to teach you more about this and how to handle it in a couple minutes, and you'll get it from your therapist. We'll keep you on that counselor's couch for the next fucking 20 fucking years here in just a few minutes here. So, here's the thing. I'm continuing onwards, okay? Here's the thing about having a dismissive avoidant attachment style. Dismissive attachment style, ready for it? Doesn't excuse being unkind or inconsiderate. It explains behavior. So you're basically by giving this label, you're basically saying, okay, this person is a dismissive fucking asshole, but and this explains why they're so dismissive and such a fucking asshole, but it doesn't justify the harm they do. Again, why do you allow that here? I mean, if you called somebody a dismissive asshole, I mean, that's just who they are here. You'd be focusing on making sure this doesn't happen again, and you'd be focusing on not allowing this behavior in the future, okay? That's really where you should be putting your focus, okay? But anyway, the traits that someone exhibits when they are in this term here is they ghost you, they minimize your feelings, they act cold or indifferent when you're vulnerable, and they make you feel like you're too much for wanting closeness. Also sounds like somebody who's just not fucking into you. Don't make excuses for it. If you're dealing with somebody or getting broken up by somebody or spending time apart from somebody who's doing these things to you, let's not make excuses here. They're just not into you. It's as simple as that. You don't need to hide behind labels. You don't have to make yourself feel better by making excuses for them. You just allowed bad behavior, and you really didn't see that person for who they really are. somebody who's just not that into you. Simple as that. Now, where you should be putting your focuses on is make sure that you don't get strung along again by somebody who's just not that into you, okay? How do you make sure that you don't allow this to happen in the future? You know what you do? You treat real self-worth, you actually build real self-worth from the ground floor up. Real self-worth is not externally dependent. It's not dependent on dismissive assholes. It's dependent on you. There is something called the science of neuroplasticity, and that's the ability to strengthen your brain like a muscle. If you had that real inner strength, that real inner power, that real emotional muscle, you'd be far less likely to allow these dismissive assholes into your life. And you'd be far less likely to make excuses for people that are, quite frankly, again, just not that into you. That's really all it is here. Dismissive avoidant labels are given to people to give them an excuse to not feel so bad about the fact they let somebody treat them like crap. Now, if this is you here, hey, listen, let me be straightforward here. I allowed this shit for fucking years. I got my heart fucking crushed numerous times. That's why I'm so passionate about this here. And I made excuses to them. I remember years ago, I had this, girl that I really fell for. I remember one time having lunch with her, and she told me during our lunch that she had a really good friend of hers that she just cut off cold, ghosted her because she did something that she didn't like. Instead of talking about it, instead of trying to work things out, she just ghosted her like a cold fucking fish. Now, I'm here having lunch with this person that I'm really falling for here, and I just allowed that to just go in one ear out the other and not recognize if she'd do that to somebody that she's so close to, obviously she would do that to me, which she fucking did. That was somebody who ghosted me, who dismissive. She clearly at the time just wasn't that into me. And I allowed it, and I made excuses for it. And I created this fucking narrative story, oh, she just had childhood this and childhood that. Stop making fucking excuses for people. Take fucking ownership. If somebody treated you like garbage, like in my story, like where I got treated like garbage, it's time to fucking, own up to it. Face the music. Recognize what's really going on here. It's you allowing bad behavior from other people, so stop fucking allowing it. Now, if you got bullied by people physically, how would you stop allowing people from bullying you? You fucking strengthen physically. You take a martial arts course. You train. You lift weights. Is that what you're fucking doing? No. You're talking things to fucking death. Talking about where you're deficient or where you fall short ain't gonna solve anything. You need real solutions. And if you want to strengthen physically, how'd you handle that? Again, would you go to the counselor's couch and fucking talk things to death? Would you use some kind of meditation retreat and pray to fucking God that somehow this doesn't happen again? No. You build those fucking skills so you can prevent this from happening again in the future. That's how you fucking fix it. But it is time to stop making excuses for what happened to you. It is time to not make excuses for how people treat you like garbage and take real ownership and make sure this doesn't happen to you again in the future. Okay? That's really where you need to go long term here. Anyway, hope this makes sense. Hope you enjoyed today's therapy session, so to speak here. Ciao for now. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.